Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, I do not want to be making this video today, but when I started this health journey, I said that, well, I do and I don't want to make this video, so let me explain. When I started this health journey, I was committed to, I'm going to continue to film every day over here, even if it's a complete failure, even if I have weeks that are failures or whatever, you know. If I have weeks that are fantastic, then hey, that's great. I don't really know what I thought when I started this. Somebody left a comment on my last weight loss update, and they said, the problem is you don't really want this. And I thought, how dare you tell me what's in my head, okay? Like, I have wanted this since I was, I don't know, in middle school. To be healthy, to, you know, to feel comfortable in my own skin, to be okay looking at myself in the mirror nude after I got out of the shower, to feel good looking at pictures of myself that are taken, you know, to feel comfortable putting on clothes or going to a store and trying on clothes. These are things I've wanted for my entire life, you know, to feel comfortable in my own skin. And I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. That's the truth, right? And then first of all, I just want to say, there were so many supportive comments, because the last video I did, I said I did horrible on vacation, I gained all my weight back, and I was right back to where I started. I was 215.2 last week. And so, when I started this journey, I think I was 215.8. And so many people were incredibly, incredibly supportive of me, and I really, really appreciate that. And we're just like, thank you for sharing authentically about your journey and whatever, right? And, So, okay, but there were a couple comments, and I don't know, after this video today, I probably will not be in the comments. I just want you to know that. I don't know that I can handle it, in all truth. I've actually been thinking about a lot of these people, like, just in all transparency, like Amberlynn Reed and people like that talk about weight loss regularly and, like, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. I don't honestly understand. And like, as a drama commentary channel on my other channel, I've covered some of those people, and I think they do a lot of it for the views and whatever. But honestly, even the supportive comments are kind of tough to hear sometimes. I mean, I appreciate them, but even when people are like, hey, Peter, you got this, you can do it, even those comments kind of make me feel, and I'm not telling anybody not to leave a comment or whatever. Leave whatever you need to leave, okay? Trash me in the comment sections if you need to. Lift me up. Do whatever you need to do, okay? I'm just telling you, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. Because they've dedicated their entire channels to doing that, and I feel so responsible to myself, but now I also feel responsible to other people. And there are people that have been like, well, like, you obviously had a food addiction and you need to do this. I've talked about that, okay? I've done extensive work with my therapist. I've done extensive work with my sponsor. I have attended 12-step programs that have to do with food issues. I have worked relentlessly on this. I've read the books. I've done a lot of work on it, okay? I'm fully aware that I have food addiction issues. I'm fully aware that I have probably, I don't know that I traded addictions. I think because people are like, well, you traded addictions. I don't know. I always had this addiction. Even when I was actively using drugs and alcohol, I was, eating like this. I never have eaten healthy in my life, and I love food, and I love all of that, and I make a million excuses in my head. I'll start it tomorrow. It doesn't really care, blah, 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 whatever. And, last week I was like, well, what if I just get in my video and I say that, like, I'm 2 pounds thinner than I actually am, and then I don't have to admit that I've gained all my weight back, and then, like, by the following week I've lost, and I thought, no, like, you got on here for you to do this transparent video or series and be authentic about it. You're always honest on video. You're not going to start lying about your weight. You're not going to do that, okay? What it is what it is. And you said you're going to put a fucking video up every week, and you're going to put a video up every week talking about what's been going on with you. So the last 2 days, this last week, it has been struggle bus, okay? I got done with that video last week, and, you know, in recovery, we do this thing called an inventory. And you usually do like your first inventory early in sobriety. Just people do it at different times. But anyway, it's called the 4-step inventory. And it's a searching and fearless moral inventory of your life. And you look at resentments, and you look at anger, and you look at resentments, fear, and conduct. And I have done this as well over food, just so you guys know. I've done an entire inventory over my food issues. And a lot of people, when they do their 4-step, and then your 5th step is where you typically go over that with your sponsor, who is your guide through a 12-step program, or some people, like my mom did it with her sponsor, and she did it with her pastor. A lot of people do it with, you know, whoever, but mostly you do it with your sponsor. And I've heard people do it like in groups and like, you know, things like that, but mostly you do it with one-on-one with your sponsor, and that's called the 5th step, where you share that with somebody else. So many people, and I've heard so many people talk about 5th steps through the years, the 29 years I've been sober, where they're like, I felt so great after my 5th step. My first 5th step that I did with my sponsor when I was 23 years old, I felt shittier about myself after I did that 5th step than I did before going into it, because it was like all this horrible stuff about me was laid out on paper. Well, that's how I felt last week after I made the video. The comments, the majority of them, I'd say like 95 to 99% of them, were so supportive and so loving, and I appreciate that. But in all honesty, all these people telling me I could do it, and they appreciated my honesty, and they knew I got this and all whatever. It was like, do I? I started second guessing myself, and I was like, you know, and I'm somebody that, like, that one comment creeps into my head. It has for years. And I'm like, you know, like, you've wanted this forever, but, like, you're not doing the things that you know you need to do. And that's been in my head all week long, okay? I think I walked, like, for a little bit one night. And other than that, I haven't been walking. The only thing I've really kept up with was drinking a lot of water. I haven't been doing my journal. And I've ordered food literally every night. Every night I've ordered food, and not good food. Cheesecake Factory, Piata, Alex got pizza one night. I mean, it's been bad. Snacks, it's been bad. It's been horrible. And I've gotten back to this point where I'm like, I don't care, okay? So, flash forward to 2 nights ago. I was like, I'm not doing these videos anymore. Because I'm not going to get on video and lie, but I don't have it to keep on doing it week after week. Like, I just don't have it in me. You know, like, is this the end? Do I just need to accept the fact that I'm not going to lose the weight? And somebody had left me a comment, and it was like weeks ago, and they said what I already know. And they said, you know what you need to do. Or they said something like, I struggled with this for years, and what I finally got was, you know what you need to do. It's just doing what you already know. And like, I kept on thinking about that, and I was like, I know what to do, you know? I know that for me, this is just for me, okay? I'm glad that people out there, keto, Weight Watchers, whatever you do works. For me, counting calories and eating reduced calories and eating high protein works for me as far as a diet, okay? Walking and being active really helps me. Drinking a lot of water really helps me. Not ordering DoorDash really helps me. Not eating out or stopping when I'm full really helps me. I know the things I need to do to be healthy. I know them. I'm not doing them, right? And so, like 2 nights ago, I was like, and this is total honesty, I was like, okay, tomorrow, you're going to order your last meal. So I did. Last night, I ordered Cheesecake Factory. I ordered so much Cheesecake Factory last night. Today, I weighed myself, and I was 214.2. I don't know how. I was probably water weight gain or whatever. Hell, I don't know. Salt intake. But I'm down a pound than I was last week. All these people were like, oh, it's water weight gain. You'll lose 6 or 7 pounds. No, I didn't. I didn't. I didn't lose any weight this week. A pound. 1 pound. Okay? But 2 nights ago, it was like, and this is how I was, in all honesty, as an alcoholic before I got sober. I was like, I'm going to drink as much as I can tonight, and then tomorrow I'm done. I'm never going to drink again. And it never worked, right? Because I wasn't putting a program into place. And a program, for me, what I mean by that is a recovery program, you know? I wasn't working steps on it. I wasn't doing this. And even though I've done an inventory, I haven't really worked steps for my food addiction. And I've done a lot of therapy on it, and I know the things, I know all the issues, but I'm not really putting all these things into practice. And I don't know what that is about. I don't know if it's because the one thing I have left in my life is food that I lean on, and I love it so much. But like 2 nights ago, late at night, I was watching Fear the Walking Dead, and I was like, okay, tomorrow, you can order all the food you want, But then after that, when you make your video on Thursday, you're done. Okay? You're done. And you're going to do this thing. And one of the things that I remembered, obviously, because I talk about sobriety all the time, right? Is this whole idea of 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, right? And I'm going to have to do the things that I did in early sobriety with my food issues, obviously. Because what I'm doing is not working. And so I'm going to have to do what I did in early sobriety. And in early sobriety, I've shared this story many times. It was for me a day at a time. It was many times minutes at a time, where I would, sit at the island in my kitchen and be like, okay, if I can make it to the next hour, then I can go to the liquor store and I'd call these people, right? So in the last 2 days, I've gotten a support system in place of people that live healthy and that I can call and I can reach out to, that are compassionate but challenging of me as well. And I have a couple people for that. I've talked to people about, I had my therapy session today, talked at length about this. Also, I've talked to my sponsor about step work with this as well and going forward, and the possibility of possibly going into, another 12-step program specifically for food issues and working steps if working with her doesn't work out and things like that. So I've talked about all those things, and I'm just going to take it a day at a time. But as far as the videos, my plan is for the next week to give it everything I have. And what really encouraged me about this was my husband and I were talking about marriage counseling. And he said, do you remember when we first went into marriage counseling, we weren't sure if we were going to make it or not? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and then we said in that first session, we were going to give it everything we had for 1 year. And if at the end of the year, we couldn't do it anymore, then we were going to go our separate ways, but we were going to give it everything that we possibly could for a year. And I was like, yeah, I remember that I shared a lot in videos, right? And he just kind of looked at me and I was like, okay, so for the next week, and at least just for today, I'm going to give it everything I have. I'm going to give it everything I have, do everything that I know to do right, and I'm going to take it an hour by an hour, day by day, and see what comes from that. Because it's the only thing that I know how to do. It's how I've lived my life for 29 years, and that's going to have to be what happens. I know these videos are triggering for people that have weight issues or are, people that have expectations for me and then they get disappointed because they're like, oh, it's so hard because I'm so excited for Peter. I want him to be healthy and whatever and those things, because people have come to me and said those things are triggering for them. If you watch my vlog, I have some opinions about that. But what I will say is, if my videos are triggering for you or I'm talking about weight issues, I make my titles very, very clear. Weight loss updates. Please just don't watch those videos. I don't want them to be triggering for anybody that has similar issues to that. I will be sharing on this channel authentically and 100%, honestly. I'm not going to do these videos and bullshit. I'm just not. I'm not going to come on here and be like, well, I lost 5 pounds or I did this or what. I'm not going to come on here and say a bunch of shit that's not true. Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for anybody except for myself. And the reality is this, even though I do feel like some sense of responsibility for people that are watching it, and I really appreciate everybody that's kept up with this and been so supportive of me. It really means a lot to me. When I first started doing this, I had several people that commented and said, people say research shows that when you do a health journey online, it always fails, which I actually looked that up, and that's not necessarily true. There's been a lot of cases where people have done online journeys that have been proven to be very successful. The one thing for me, and this reminds me so much of Weight Watchers back in the day, that keeps in my head when I'm wanting to order something is, I got to check in on Thursday, and I got to check in on Thursday. So the reason why I started this was to hold myself accountable, still exists, and that's because of you. And I want to say thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I probably would have gained 20 more pounds and I would have just been done with this whole thing already. But I'm not giving it up. This is not the end. And hopefully next week when I report back to you, I will have learned many lessons and I will be feeling more motivated than I'm feeling today. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.